Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2 for 1 podcast. I am Liam Murphy alongside Jimmy Paganis, and boy, oh boy, it is a beautiful day to talk hoops. It's the off season. We've seen some stuff go on. We haven't recorded in 2 weeks, so things have changed in the league. Some major things have changed.
A lot
Lots
has
happened.
happened.
We're gonna start off with the NBA draft. You know, the future of the league.
Yeah, we talked about our predictions, what we thought, and I think what we
It
thought
did
was
not.
going to happen did not happen. I think most NBA fans were kind of blindsided by the first pick in the draft. We kept hearing about Jabari Smith Jr. lock at the first pick, and then like 20 minutes before the pick,
Paolo.
we heard something like Woj tweeted out or something that Paolo might be in the running for the first pick overall, and then they draft Paolo. And it's one of the weirdest situations. I don't know, like, when was the last time a number one draft pick like didn't work out with the team or didn't like meet with the team
Yeah,
at
that's
all or
pretty
anything
crazy.
before being picked. And I don't know if this was like the Magic trying to keep it hush hush. But then again, I don't know why they would, considering they had the first pick overall in the draft. It's not like they needed to. But it was just interesting, caught you off
Personally,
guard. What did you think
yeah, I
about
mean, personally,
Apollo
to
going
add
one?
on to what you said, maybe the Magic just wanted to keep it hush hush because, like, a couple years back, they took a picture of their whiteboard and released all their free agency moves. So, but yeah, all jokes aside, I like it. I like Paolo going number one overall. I'm highest on Jabari personally, but from what I've seen from Paolo, his game's pretty. He's a big dude, 6'10". I'm excited for what he's going to bring to Orlando. It's that they got a nice young core, you know, Wendell, Cole Anthony. I still think Markelle Fultz got some stuff left in the tank. They re-signed Mo Bamba. Obviously Paolo. Franz Wagner had a nice rookie year. So I'm excited for them. Oh, and Jalen
Yeah,
Suggs. Jalen Suggs, dude.
it's in Jalen Suggs, even like an RJ Hampton. They got a young team, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how Paolo fits in. I'm expecting him to be more of like initiating the offense at times. I think he's with that size. I think one of his most unique abilities is the fact that he is so unselfish and is willing to move the ball, but also can attack and put smaller guys into the basket and can even pull bigger guys out. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays. It'll be interesting to see him and like Franz play together, both kind of similar, big wings, big forwards. But I think Paolo's probably the most NBA ready. I'm with you on Jabari Smith. I'm very high on Jabari Smith. I think he's got the tools to be really special, but I think Paolo also has that, and I think just different games. I think Paolo's got that strong, solid game, good footwork, just solid. I mean, what he showed in the tournament was big time. I mean, he made it to obviously the Final Four, and he never shied away from the stage. Game after game, he performed well, and I think Orlando has a great pick. I think Paolo is going to do well, but it'll be one of those things where if Jabari ends up being as good as he maybe can be, it'll be one of those things where people are going to look back and be like, how did you pass up on that? And the same goes with Chet. I know we're not as high on Chet, but if he does blossom in whatever he can be with that body and that length and the shooting touch and defensive ability at the rim, if he can reach his full potential, it'll be the same thing. People are going to look at this as another draft as where Orlando just missed the boat.
Yeah, that'll be tough. I mean, it's their first number one overall pick since '04, which is since Dwight, right? It's crazy. But yeah, man, I mean, lots of talent in this draft. I'm excited. I can't wait to see Jabari and Paolo suit up for their first summer league games at least. We've already seen a bit of Chet, and in game one, Chet looked awesome. He looked great. His game looked really fluid. His movements looked really fluid. He got like 7 blocks, I think. One thing that's concerning is his frame. we did see him. I believe he rolled his ankle and kind of like fell and took some time to get up. That's concerning. And then in the second game, we saw Kenny Lofton Jr. I believe that's his name. He's 6'6" power forward. He's a big boy. Big boy at 6'6". What, he's 240. Big boy.
Big.
Bullied Chet. He had a very nice game, but that's the main concern is him getting bullied in the post. To me, I feel like NBA weight rooms, you'll naturally put on weight, so hopefully that helps him out. But we'll see. That's one of the biggest flaws in his game to me. But overall, so far, I've liked what I've seen.
Yeah, and then another interesting part of the draft was Sacramento at 4 taking Keegan Murray over what everyone assumed Jaden Ivey to be the best player remaining in that draft, the number 4 spot for sure, with just his athletic ability, his shooting touch, and just how he performed last year in college at Purdue. He's a big guard, 6'5" guard, freaky athleticism. And it's interesting because it's like Sacramento does this again. They drafted De'Aaron Fox, then they drafted Halliburton, and they put them together, and then they drafted Davion Mitchell, and that's 3 point guards on one team. They ended up getting rid of Halliburton, which I don't know if that was the right guy to get rid of. Halliburton's played really well for them and playing really well for Indiana. And then you see another point guard being the best player in the draft left, and they don't take him. And it's just one of those things where are you going to really pass up on that opportunity to get a potential athletic just beast that's a point guard at 6'5", and you're going to pass up on that because you have Davion Mitchell as your next point guard? It's just, I don't know. Like we've joked about this before. Sacramento in the draft, it's just they either blow the pick or they take somebody who's really good and they end up like ruining their career. But yeah, Marvin Bagley actually got a bag from Detroit this offseason. We'll get to that later. But speaking of Detroit, that's who Jaden Ivey fell to at 5. And now he's going to get paired up with Cade Cunningham.
Excellent offseason so far. I'm excited for that pairing. Cade and Ivy are going to be so exciting to watch, man.
Cade, Ivy, they also drafted Jalen Duran, from Memphis. And that's just another a big guy who can roll to the rim, dive hard, finish at the basket, strong, and he's a good defender. I just think he's perfect with those two guys. So Detroit's got some fun stuff going on for them. One thing, I called it right before the draft. I sent you the tweet as proof. Patrick Baldwin Jr. was one of the top recruits in high school, and he was recruited by Duke, all the big schools, right? And he ended up choosing Milwaukee over Duke, where his dad coached. Yep. And then he ended up having a little bit of injury issues, but also not just playing as well as he could have. And that just screamed out to me that he had all the talent, right? And then he had one bad season, one kind of off season in college. He was only a freshman, and he had one off season at Milwaukee. And I would just scream to me like he is going to fall in this draft. And he has the potential to be he has the talent, obviously, top-rated recruit. He has the talent to be special, and he's just going to fall right to a contender. And I tweeted out right before the draft, just need this one out there. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is going to fall into the hands of a contender and be the sleeper of the draft. And later that night, the Golden State Warriors drafted Patrick Baldwin Jr. in the late 20s, I think, or in the 20s, and it's just, it's like Golden State's done this before. Kuminga was one of the top recruits out of high school, and then he went to the G League instead of college, and he fell to 7th, and the Warriors got him at 7. And it just seems like those guys who ranked highly, Kevon Looney, the same way. He was one of the top recruits out of high school. Out of college, he dropped a little bit, and then the Warriors picked him up, and he's become obviously a big part of their championships as well. And so this isn't the first time that's happened where a guy with talent falls to the Warriors, but it happened again, and I couldn't help but realize it and notice it. And I think we need to keep an eye out on Patrick Baldwin out on the wing. The Warriors have some young wings that are going to be really good. Kuminga, Baldwin, Moody Moses, Moody. That guy too. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, and it didn't surprise me.
And we praised Golden State's last time we were on the pod. We praised Golden State's ability to develop talent, and I can't help but see. I feel like we'll really see Patrick Baldwin Jr. be the steal of the draft. He's got great mentors on the squad.
Yeah.
Golden State's got that track record of developing players, so the future's bright for him. He landed in the right spot.
For sure. I think for me, my man Benedict Mathurin went to Indiana right after Ivy went to Detroit, and another guy I really like, and I think him next to Halliburton actually is going to be a good pairing. I think Halliburton will kind of allow Mathurin to play a little off the ball and get his shot going, but also they'll be able to share the on-ball duty, and they'll both be able to attack, initiate offense. I just think two great young talents under a good coach in Rick Carlisle. I think that'll be fun to kind of see them work off each other. I hope it works out. I hope it's not another like Sacramento where it's 2 point guards and they don't play well together. But I think they'll be able to. I think Halliburton's a great guard, an unselfish guard, and I think Mathurin's the same way. But that was my guy, and I'm excited to see what he does next year.
Too. Indy, I like what Indy is brewing. Like they're a fun league pass team for me last year. Their roster was switching around a lot, but I enjoyed watching Halliburton's half season in Indy. Whenever I'd see the Pacers on, I'd be like, I'm gonna go watch that for Tyrese, and I'm excited for Tyrese, man. He's a great player, super smart player. So throw anybody next to him, he'll make it work.
For sure. Those were like my big takeaways from the draft. There was a couple of trades. I think the Knicks caught a lot of slander for not having a pick and trading away their picks.
They traded away.
I see both sides. Yeah, I see both sides to that. I see how the Knicks maybe they didn't have a guy that they were highly on, or maybe their guy got taken up early, and they just were like, okay, we'll trade this pick away. We'll retool for the future. So I don't really knock it too much, but at the same time, I think their fans expected them to do something, and all they did was just trade everything away. So, I don't know. Interesting. They opened up some cap space. They traded Kemba. It wasn't a ton of cap space, but they opened it. And maybe let's just take this one into free agency. They opened the cap space.
Yeah, their guy.
To sign Jalen Brunson, their guy, to a $104 million deal or something like that. 4 years.
First non-all-star to get $100 million. I saw something like that.
Yeah, he's definitely the highest paid second-round pick.
You got that bag, Jalen. But the one thing that worries me is when a player gets a bag and does not play up to it, the slander, it comes, But I love Jalen Brunson. I loved what he did in the playoffs for the Mavs. I don't know about that money, though, but I'll be rooting for him. As a pretty local kid, he went to high school 20-something minutes away from me, same high school my cousin went to, so I'll be rooting for the man,
Yeah, definitely a huge fan of Brunson in his game. He's a great point guard. I think he is a really good point guard, definitely a starter in this league. It's a lot of money for a guy who is not an all-star yet and may not be an all-star in the future. But I don't know. There's a lot of ties to New York with their front office, and their front office who is it? West or something like that. I can't think of his name. Anyway, he was the agent for Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad. And then there's a bunch of ties in that front office with Rick Brunson. Then they ended up signing Rick Brunson as an assistant coach. And then after that, you kind of knew, done deal, really.
I want to see the tampering
Jalen
fine
Brunson
they get for that one, because
yeah, there has to be something there, because it's 6 p.m. on the dot. Jalen Brunson was a Knick, and it's interesting. Tampering thing is kind of weird, just because I don't think. Yeah. I mean, the Bulls got caught last year. The Heat got caught last year, and they just lost a second-round pick, right? So depending on the player, if you're tampering and you're going to get an all-star player or a max contract player, and you're just losing a second-round pick for it, I mean, just consider it a trade. It's not a big deal, right? You win that trade. So it's interesting to see maybe what the league will do differently to try to prevent it. I don't think they can prevent
players
it.
Players are friends. Players are friends off the courts. Players, they have off-court relationships with guys, So, it's a different time, than it was back then, especially with social media. You can text a player, if you're friends with a player on another team, you can call it tampering. So, I don't know, man. It's just there's not much they can do about it. But,
yeah. I do think it's interesting. That signing, like we said, we have high praise for Brunson. I think him and RJ together is something kind of exciting. I'm a big RJ Barrett guy. I really believe in his game and just kind of his mentality that he plays with. But I think him and Brunson will work really well together. It's going to be the first time RJ Barrett has kind of a true point guard to play with, a true facilitator, a shot maker. I don't want to sound like I'm knocking Derrick Rose, because he has played with RJ Barrett, but I think RJ Barrett's going to be entering into this new stage of his career where he's going to try to take a next step. And I think having a younger playmaker, that true point guard beside him, I think it's really going to help his game blossom. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with Julius Randle. I know there's a lot of mixed
kind of a wild card with him.
Maybe they trade him, get some assets, get some other younger guys. It could be fun. It's not the most exciting thing if you're a Knicks fan, probably. Yay, we just spent all of our money on Jalen Brunson. But we like Brunson, and definitely excited to see them play. Excited to see him with RJ for sure.
Super exciting. It's a lot of money, but hopefully he plays to the bag motivates him, to not let the NYC, those fans are scary. They'll let him hear about it if he doesn't play up to the bag. So, hopefully he can. But
yeah, I think he'll play well, but it's just, once again, even if he plays how he did in the playoffs, is he an all-star at that point? Probably not. So, it's just interesting to see what his ceiling maybe is. Maybe he has more in him than we think. Maybe he takes his game to even another level.
We've seen great
but we just don't know that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is for sure is he'll elevate the Knicks, no question. I mean, the Knicks, they need to see that too after an extremely disappointing season last year. I had far higher expectations for them than what happened last year. I don't think anybody expected the drop in production from Julius after a really good MIP season. That kind of came out of nowhere.
Talk about getting the bag and flopping.
I don't think Jalen will do the same, but I mean, just hopefully it motivates him.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some other free agency signings, maybe that just notable ones. I'll start off with two. Nikola Jokic and Bradley Beal re-signed with their teams on 5-year extensions. Jokic becomes the highest paid basketball player of all time.
Every offseason, pretty much. League just keeps making more money. The cap keeps increasing.
Basically.
So I wonder what the highest paid player will be making in 10 years. That'll be crazy to see.
Yeah, for sure. But with that draft, or with that signing for Jokic, obviously well deserved, 2-time MVP.
I think he could have been better.
Leads his team,
but
even when. Even when it's just him and Zeke Najee out there playing, I mean, he still leads them to the playoffs and does everything he can for the team, and it's incredible to see what he does. He's one of the definitely top
Number
two
one.
big man in the league, and
Number one.
dare I
I
say,
like Embiid though. I love Embiid. Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. I think Jokic definitely deserved MVP the last 2 years. But yeah, 5-year extension for him. Nothing.
No surprise.
Nothing
there.
that we didn't expect. Maybe the other one that we might not have expected was the re-signing of Bradley Beal to the Wizards. And I'm going to let you go first on this one. Just tell me your thoughts on it. It's a 5-year extension over $200 million.
Okay.
So,
Love Brad Beal. Think he's a great guy. I think he's he's underrated in terms of being one of the funniest guys in the league. Because that meme of him just like, what was it? The fan called him trash and he did that shrug. You know that meme? Like he put his hands on his hips, like. But
yeah,
that's a hilarious meme. First of all, I think
Yeah.
Brad's a great guy. That extension is crazy though. I don't know how the Wizards expect to be competitive. Just like as how things have just been trending. But I mean they have Beal, Kuz, and KP, but like it's just they just got to give up. I think really just hit the reset button. I don't understand it. And handing Beal a no trade clause. Bradley Beal is the only player in the league right now with a no trade clause. That's pretty crazy. Like I don't know, man.
That's how I feel. I don't know. I don't
I'm
know
just
what to
appalled.
say. I don't know how I get you want to be loyal to your guy maybe. Bradley Beal is not.
He's an
a
incredible
superstar,
scorer, but
unfortunately,
he's not a superstar.
he is. He very much is, and and in this day in the NBA, right? You sign a contract, and then the year later, you still demand a trade, right? Like the contract is just now that players are guaranteed their money. It's not a 4-year commitment, or in this case, a 5-year commitment to the team. It's a 5-year, I'm getting that money contract, and would not be surprised at all if even this upcoming season, not the following one or two, that Bradley Beal just asks for a trade. He's like, you know what, I've been here, I've stuck it through, I've done my best. Trade me to these 4 teams or whatever. And now he has a trade clause too. And
do you even think?
Yeah, go.
Bradley Beal even cares or expects to win at this point? Like, do you think? What do you think? Exactly.
Not if he's staying. No, not if he just signs it to get his money, which I still don't blame him for, because if a team's going to offer you $250 million, you take it. But no, at this point, you can't expect or can't have that desire to win or not win. You can't have that, I'm going to go for a championship if you're staying with the Wizards. Obviously, they don't have the greatest track record. Their roster is not the best. And Bradley Beal is not the best, cannot be the best player on a championship team. And he's so good. He's such a great scorer. He's a great player. Even defensively, when John Wall and him were playing together, he put a little more effort defensively and was playing well. But even that guy, even with his offense and his defense at top notch, he just can't be the best player on a team that wins the championship. We saw Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, great two-way players. They weren't good enough to win a championship, to be the best player on a championship team, right? You have to be a next level to do that. And the last 2 years, it's been Steph Curry, it's been Giannis. You need a guy like that. Bradley Beal is not that guy. This contract is awful for the Wizards. And I don't even know if the Wizards in the next year or so are even going to be able to get a lot back in return for Bradley Beal. And that makes it almost worse. You have no cap space for the next 5 years because of this, or not a ton at least. And then also, when you trade him, you're not going to get a lot back. It's ridiculous because he's not going to stay
from Bradley
there for 5
Beal's
years.
standpoint. Yes, let me get this money, but I just I struggle to understand the Wizards' direction whatsoever because I don't care what anyone said. That team will be stuck in a mediocre to bottom feeder level. I like straight up. I just can't see them. I mean, even with Brad, they're going to be mediocre. That East is stacked now. The Cavs are getting better. The Bulls are better. The Bucks are better. Nets are a wild card. Who knows what happens there? Celtics are better.
Nets are a wild card. Boston's
I can
really good.
keep going, but it's just I don't get what the Wizards front office is even thinking. But I mean, good for you, Brad. Enjoy that money. Enjoy. He must just love DC because I don't know, man. Every time I've thought he's gonna leave, he just stays there.
I'd move.
Honestly,
to DC for
seriously. But good
mil.
for you, Brad. Get that bag, man. Go for it.
That is right. I mean, there were more free agent signings. There's a couple that kind of slid under the radar that I actually really like. Which was Dante DiVincenzo to the Warriors. Dante DiVincenzo was a guy 2 years ago with the Bucks that played really well in their championship run and got injured right before the playoffs, if not in the playoffs. And he played really well at that 2 guard, even kind of some point guard off the bench. Can make shots, is a good shooter, great at attacking the rim, good defender. He's like a 6'5" point guard / shooting guard. He brings that intensity. I think he was a great player for the Bucks. They traded him to Sacramento. Sacramento is where just everything goes to die. So he played the rest of the season there or whatever. But then the Warriors signed him, and I think he's going to go back to how he was playing with the Bucks, if not better. His game will be unlocked. He'll have more open shots. He'll have more attacking lanes, and he'll be able to distribute the ball off of his rip through attacks. And I just think him being in Golden State was just a sneaky good pickup.
We can kind of just toss this season away for him too, because number one, he played for the Kings, so we can toss that away. And when he struggled for the Bucks, he was coming off injury, so that was tough on him. But to me, DiVincenzo was a guy who was a winner in college. He went to Villanova, and he thrives in winning environments. It looks like. So I'm loving this move. I'm really loving this move. He's got that championship DNA, and he's playing for championship winning organization. So I see it working out for sure. Great signing.
Yeah. No, I think it was a great signing. We can briefly talk about the John Wall deal. John Wall signs a two-year deal to go to the Clippers, play alongside Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers also re-signed Zubac, Amir Coffey, and Batum this offseason.
Which is unfortunate.
They did, which was kind of He was
great.
He was pretty good last year, but
they re-signed Rocco a couple months back.
But
that's a good one. But
yep, yeah, I think this roster is good. We've talked about it before. If they were healthy last year, they would have been definitely favorites, I think, in the West. Who knows? If they're healthy this year, maybe they get back up there to those favorites. John Wall is a wild card. We haven't seen him play in a while. We don't know what he will bring to the table. But if he is just half of what prime John Wall was, that definitely helps a team. I mean, he's only on I think an $8 million deal. So it's not like he's taking a bunch of cap space or anything like that. So why not take a flyer on a point guard like John Wall if you're the Clippers? I don't think you can really lose that deal.
No, absolutely.
That's how I feel about it, at least.
And I already 2 weeks ago, we heard me. Okay, I'm gonna restate what I said. I picked the Clippers to win the 2023 NBA championship. Unless my Bulls don't win. I hope my Bulls win. But my unbiased pick is the Clippers. I really love this Clippers roster. I've been high on this Clippers roster. 2020, we don't talk about it. They sold. They choked. 2021, Kawhi got hurt. Injuries are part of the game. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. Injuries are part of the game. But I feel like and obviously this year Kawhi was injured, but this team is deep. It's as deep as it gets. Some key role players: Norman Powell, Luke Kennard, Covington, Batum. So super talented roster. I mean, I'm excited, and they got Reggie Jackson. I'm assuming they're going to start John Wall. I'm not sure, but whoever they start, whatever point guard will be coming off the bench will be a great, great, great backup point guard. So there's so much to be excited about for that team. I think that's the best team in the West. That's my favorite team in the West already. Favorite team to win the chip. Yeah, I love Kawhi. I love PG. PG is one of my favorite players to watch play. His game's so smooth, so pretty. Great defender, great scorer. So is Kawhi. I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
I love it.
They just got to stay healthy. They just got to stay healthy.
I love the take.
It's a big ask. It's a big if. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a huge if they do stay healthy. But yeah, you're right. They have the tools, and they have the guys. They have actually like the guy who's already won
2 Finals MVPs,
2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs. He's done it before. So if they all stay healthy,
I feel like
I don't put that past him at all.
Paul George will be so career altering and so like, just like overall fan kind of view of him altering, because like he's ever since the bubble, I feel like Paul George has been a guy. Oh no, Dame's game winner. That's kind of when all the slander. That was a bad shot.
Yeah,
but yeah,
at that moment,
that's when a lot of the slander started. Even though my man was top 3 in MVP voting that year. I mean,
he was top 3 in MVP voting, top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting in the same year. He had a great year in OKC. It was
awesome
unreal. It was unreal, the type of season he had. But yeah, I think you're right. The Clippers cannot be taken lightly this upcoming season.
John Wall is that's just icing on the cake. I mean, even if, like you said, if he's like, it's a wild card, but if he was like 50% of what he was, it can help. Good vet.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna bring up a contract that can be controversial.
Okay.
It is for me, at least. Give me your take on Zion's 5-year max rookie extension.
It's a lot of money for a guy who has only played 85 games. That's for sure. Me personally, I'm super high on Zion. It kind of caught me off guard to get that type of extension after not playing that much, but I'm high on him. It's just it's a wild card. If he stays healthy, it'll work out, but if not, I don't know. But Zion and the times where he has played basketball has been incredible. I mean, his all-star season averaged 27 points a game, 65% true shooting percentage. He's a stud. He's a stud. No question, he's a huge talent in this league. And they're building something super special in New Orleans. They got a huge steal of the draft. At 44, he played at Ohio State. I do not remember his name. I'm going to be completely honest. You know his name? Guy out of Ohio State. He was supposed to go first round. Yes, they got him. That's a pretty big steal. I hear he's a good really good defender. Yeah, he was supposed to
in some mock drafts. In some mock drafts he was like top 20, 25.
Great pickup.
Definitely fell.
Things are brewing in New Orleans. That contract's a lot, but I think eventually if Zion, huge if, I know it's a lot of ifs today. I've said a lot of ifs today, but if he stays healthy enough, it can definitely pay off. Because look at that core. I mean, you got Ingram, McCollum, Herb Jones looking like a stud. That great defender. Love Alvarado's energy. Who am I missing? I'm missing Jackson Hayes. Could still have stuff left in the tank. He's a really good athlete. There's just a lot to be excited about that Pelicans team for sure.
Yeah,
Very fun.
It's a fun team. Definitely fun team. It's definitely, like you said, when Zion plays, he's unreal. The question is, or the key point of that is, will he play? How much will he play? You're paying a lot of money. The good thing is in this contract, there's a lot of incentive based. So it could be up to $213 million. It could be a lot less than that. But still, it's a lot of money for what you said, like a guy who hasn't played a ton. But when he does play, he's amazing. He's really good. Kind of what intrigues me the most about it really is the fit you were talking about. I think he fits well with CJ. Brandon Ingram was an all-star last year, played really well. I don't know. I don't see like those guys playing super well together.
BI and Zion, you think?
I just don't know. Yeah, those two. I just don't know. I mean, BI's game is pretty. It's like just smooth, a lot of ISO ball though. And then Zion also needs the ball in his hands a lot. CJ needs the ball in his hands.
He was playing
to
point guard last
and
year.
Play.
Get him out, right? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And I think maybe like a Brandon Ingram trade, unfortunately, or something like that can kind of get more, maybe Zion more touches,
That's
or even Zion
right
like a better partner, a better fit.
Trade.
Yeah, I just think one of the two. My biggest take with this Zion thing is if I was the Pelicans, I would have traded Zion.
They would have got if they were in win now mode. Because just imagine the haul they would have got for Zion. Oh my gosh, you think they could have definitely made a move for KD? Don't you?
No.
They definitely could have made a move for KD.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see though.
Here's the thing. I love Zion, and I'm high on him when he plays, because he's so good. But it scares me. Like, his track record's not the best with injuries in just his first 2 seasons, and his game, the way he plays is so powerful, which is why I love it. Man. It's why I love it. But he's so big and he's so strong and he jumps so high and he stops so quickly that it's almost scary. And it's just there's a lot of what ifs with him. What if he stays healthy? He's like a Hall of Famer potential. But if he doesn't stay healthy, he could be a huge
bust. I think is too. I think he's done too much to be a bust. Not a bust, but like severely, didn't reach his his real potential, I guess.
Yeah. Injuries would have just. It's like Grant Hill was amazing. Could have been a lot more if he wasn't injured, right? Same with T-Mac. Like, there's just guys who are so good, and injuries just don't let them sustain that level of play for too long. And I'm worried Zion's that. I hope not. I really do. I like the guy. He's a Dookie. I'm big Duke fan.
Such a likable dude too. I've never seen.
He's just a great kid. Has fun when he plays. He's a joy to watch.
Do you think he'll
that's
take
just
more
my
layups
hot take
to
is
maintain
like,
his longevity?
When you sent me that clip, I was like, one of the worst questions I've ever heard in my entire life. For everybody not talking, he was being interviewed about like longevity and him understanding that he needs to like take his body seriously to like prolong his career. And then this reporter asks, do you think you dunk a lot? Do you think you'd now be shooting more layups instead of dunking so you can preserve your body for the future? And when I heard that question, I thought, why is this guy a reporter? I just thought, like, I was thinking, why are me and Liam sitting here over Zoom video talking about basketball, and this guy is in an NBA media room getting to talk to Zion Williamson? It was just the stupidest question I've ever heard in my life. Are you going to try to not score and, be strong when you play basketball?
You're just going to play soft, Zion.
Not take contact. Are you going to just try to be weak and just play? Yeah. Are you going to change the complete identity of your game so you can
Zion, you're
play
statistically
3 extra
more
years?
likely to get hurt driving to the basket. Are you going to pull shots from 40 feet away every possession instead of going to the basket?
Yeah. unreal.
It's funny.
That was
It's
the
funny.
most ridiculous
It's
question.
fun. I mean, Zion got a good laugh out of it because he's just a good dude. He's not gonna. I mean, he's not gonna tear reporters apart.
Yeah, he's not one to
Was it
just
Chris Paul?
go off on
Like,
a reporter. But
Chris, will you be in LA for Game 7? you remember that interview? You don't remember that?
I don't
He's
know.
like, they were like down 3-2.
What
or
did he say
something.
to
He's
it?
He's like, come on, man,
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much. But yeah, reporters. It's always fun to watch reporters ask stupid questions. Yeah, we should probably get back on.
You're right. That's all right. Let's talk about. We went through some of the free agent signings. There was a ton. I think those were kind of like the bigger ones that we just talked about. Now let's get to
I know
trades.
which one I want to hit first.
Let's get to one.
Jeremy Grant.
Oh,
To
go for it.
Portland. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm gonna hit this one first because it was earlier, but I was not expecting Portland to make like they're kind of making like winning type moves. I personally was on team hit the absolute reset button, like Portland trade Dame, trade everybody away, but they still want to be competitive. Unless they like land KD, they're not going to be competitive in that Western Conference, like crazy competitive, because they're just not. It's just not going to happen. But, I mean, I guess they want to sell tickets in Portland, still win basketball games. I don't know. But
Yeah, this is another kind of interesting situation. The move is definitely like a win now move, and it's definitely someone that Jeremy Grant is someone that Portland has wanted in the past. And man, would he have been good when CJ was there and they were in the playoffs and doing well. But I don't know. Portland's weird because they're making win now moves and decisions. At the same time, they drafted one of the biggest like I don't know, toss-ups in the draft, and Shannon Sharp, who has potential to be a really great player, but at the same time did not play like after high school. He just missed his year after, so there's not much on him, but definitely has a ton of potential. But that's a development, right? He's not going to, at least no one expects him to walk in and just be a starting guy. And then also one of the craziest signings, I thought, Anthony Simons signed a 4-year, $100 million deal with Portland.
That's a lot of.
That is a lot of money for Anthony Simons. He's good.
I mean, like, it's crazy. And has showed some flashes, but 4-year, $100 million extension is a lot for what we've seen. He's talented, and personally, I was team like rebuild around and trade everybody away because I see that potential in him. I think he's got like really good potential. He showed great flashes, great scorer. But it's just their direction. That's a lot of money. Their direction's really confusing because I can't remember the exact package they moved CJ for, but there were like picks involved with that too. So that kind of gave us an idea that they're finally headed to rebuild territory. But they're just it's like similar. They're like the Wizards of the West, pretty much to me. That's how I view it because like they're both like. They both can't hang on to can't let go of the superstar player. Like, Dame's a superstar, Brad is like more of a star, but they both can't hang on to those 2012 draft picks. Yeah. You can't stop hanging on to them. Like, dang, man. No. I don't know. I really wanted them to just hit this reset button and see a change of scenery for Dame.
No, I'm totally with you on that. And it's the same thing with Brad. Like, Dame can still just say, I want to be gone. Like, I want to be traded. I've done my best.
Loyalty, though.
And then you already traded Jeremy Grant, right? You've already made some interesting decisions trying to win now. You re-signed Nurkic.
But it's crazy.
But it's just like, if Dame leaves, then what? Then you're rebuilding, but I don't know. It feels like they could have started the rebuild earlier. I don't think they're going to be a contender. But yeah, definitely an interesting trade. one of the earliest ones for sure. And then what's the one that came next?
Oh yeah, that
It was the DeJounte Murray trade.
My initial
In
sometimes when you look at a trade, you'll scratch your head and not think correctly about it. But I think this is a super mutually beneficial trade because of the picks the organization the picks are going to a really good organization that can do good things with these picks.
yeah,
yeah,
you're right. And there's
you can go.
oh sorry. No, there's a sweepstakes for a player next year that it seems like a lot of teams are tanking for. Victor Wembanyama, like the 7'4" kid out of France who handles like a guard, shoots from deep. There's videos of him playing one-on-one with Gobert and just like being better than him. But he's been on a lot of teams' radars since he was like 14, 15 because of just the international stage. And look, the Spurs get a first-round draft pick for next year. And then they also get 3 more first-round draft picks for DeJounte Murray. And I love DeJounte. I am a huge fan. He's on a great contract. He's a great player. He's only 25 years old. Great defender. His shooting gets better every year. He was on the All-Star team last year. I'm a huge DeJounte Murray fan, and I was sad when the Spurs let him go. But 4 first-round draft picks for DeJounte Murray was big time. And the Spurs were not going to get anything better than that. And I think it's a great fit for the Hawks, too. They gave up a lot, but you need a guard who can defend when you play Trae Young.
I definitely like it a lot for the
fit
Hawks.
Well together.
For like right now, obviously, because you're trading away a lot of picks. But like the Hawks are a competitive team, so they're going to be in that win-now situation. I love what DeJounte provides on the defensive side of the ball. It'll help Trae Young big time, as he's known as, defensively. Defense is definitely not a strong suit for Trae Young, but it's gonna help him big time. I really love that backcourt. I'm excited to see that, and as the Spurs do super well with draft picks all the time, I'm so excited to see what they'll do with all these picks they're getting, because incredible organization. I just know they're going to do well. And this begs the question. You said DeJounte got, was it 3 or 4 first-round picks, right? Or picks.
Yeah.
This begs the question. As a top name in the league has now requested a trade. If DeJounte got 4 and Rudy Gobert got 5, should we hit on Rudy before? We should hit on Rudy before. Okay. Or what do we want? Okay, we'll hit on Rudy.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'm going in.
This is your turn.
I call it. I'm subbing in. So the Timberwolves got traded for Rudy Gobert, right? They traded Malik Beasley, good young player, Patrick Beverley, good point guard, veteran, right? Leandro Balmero, which was a first-round pick of last season. I think he was like a draft and stash guy. Walker Kessler, which was the 22nd overall pick of this year's draft. Yeah, so I kind of count that as a first-round pick as well. I love that Jared guy, Vanderbilt, who is great. He's a great defender. He's young. He's lengthy. Shots improving. He's improving. He's just a good player, I think. And then you got a 2023 first-round pick, a 2025 first-round pick, a 2026 pick swap, 2027 first-round pick, and a 2029 first-round pick. So that's 5 draft picks plus the 22nd overall pick in the draft. So I'm counting that as 6 draft picks for Rudy Gobert. And oh boy, does Danny Ainge strike again? That man is
greatness
just
to Utah.
Amazing.
Seriously. I mean, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see what he does with those picks. They need to do something about the jerseys.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. Burn those or whatever. I mean, but
yeah, that's true.
I love this. Absolutely love this for Utah. Really scratching my head for Minnesota, because sure, if you're a more casual NBA fan who doesn't follow the game as much, you see the star power right, that they bring in with Gobert. But in order for a team to actually go far, Minnesota gave up a lot of important depth to their team. Vanderbilt was an awesome player for them, great defender. Pat Bev provided so much energy. He was a hound on defense, and they're also giving up so much of their future, for a team that I don't think is better than a lot of teams out west right now. I don't think after this trade, I don't think they're better than Phoenix. I don't think they're better than Golden State. I don't think they're better than the Clippers. They're not better than the Nuggets.
The Nuggets even.
The Lakers are a complete wild card. If AD stays healthy, who knows how good they are.
But still, you can't pick them over LeBron.
Exactly. So it's a head scratcher.
Here's like
no, you all right. You all right.
Sorry to interrupt.
You can go.
Yeah. I feel like I'm missing something. Like, am I missing something? Did we not just watch a playoff series, right, where Karl Anthony Towns fell apart and Anthony Edwards at 20 years of age erupted, right? And he showed what he is capable of. This trade, right? You get a guy in Rudy Gobert, and you get him because the only reason you get him is because Karl Anthony Towns, your center, is a liability when it comes to defending the rim, right? And you want him to play power forward so he can stay outside, and then Rudy Gobert can defend the rim and just help on defense. Here's the thing. This trade completely jeopardizes Anthony Edwards' future in Minnesota. Are they not supposed to be building around Anthony Edwards? Is Anthony Edwards not their guy? Did he not just prove last year that they need to go all in on Anthony Edwards instead of backing up this center who Karl Anthony Towns amazing. He's so good on offense, right? But the only reason they got Rudy Gobert was because to defend Karl Anthony Towns. They didn't get him because they needed protection of the rim behind Anthony Edwards. They needed him because they have a huge liability in Karl Anthony Towns when it comes to defending bigs. And you give away 6 picks. Your best player is 20 years old. When he hits his prime, you're not 20, it's when you're like 26, 27. So you have 6 years, right? Until that player's in his prime, and you give up a pick from each year that he would be until he reaches his prime. And then you also trade away a young, very talented player in Jared Vanderbilt that you can build alongside of him. And this is a complete head scratcher to me. I just do not get it. I get it. Maybe they'll win more regular season games. No. But are they a contender because of this? They gave up everything to build around Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. It's like they're disregarding Anthony Edwards. You're going to be paying. This is the only team in the NBA, right, with 2 like super max players on one team, I think. And it's Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. You're going to be paying 2 7-footers, 2 big men, almost $50 million a year.
And guess
That's
what?
2 players.
They still won't be.
You're going to pay $100 million a year between 2
next year. And it takes like a ridiculous leap. Which I predict a ridiculous leap, but I really don't like what they have around them because Minnesota really just went from being one of my favorite teams in the league. I just don't like this trade for them at all because they just gave up so much depth and future depth they could have potentially had and future pieces they could have had around Ant. I don't get it.
Yes. And here's the thing. Oh, boy. Here's the thing. You have a young kid, 20 years old, right, who blossomed. He showed everything he can do. He played great. He played very well in the playoffs on a big stage at 20 years old, played very well. Then you have a guy you're about to pay over $45 million a year in Karl Anthony Towns. Very great player. Last year, fell apart in the playoffs.
Minnesota now.
Right? Did not perform well. Yeah, did not perform well at all. And then you trade everything in your franchise for another guy who has not the best track record in the playoffs, who gets played off the court by certain players who aren't that good. In all due respect. Marcus Morris,
Brunson.
Maxi Kleba, Jalen Brunson got a $100 million contract
Rudy Gobert.
because he was picking apart
send a
Rudy
thank you
Gobert
card to Rudy
for a whole
for
series.
that contract, because
honestly, and here's the thing. The Timberwolves will be a better regular season team. They will have more wins. They will make the playoffs.
Rudy,
But
how
then
old is
what?
Rudy's early
Who
30s right now,
cares?
right? Or 30.
Rudy is like,
29,
yeah,
okay.
like not. I think he's 29. I don't know. I think he's like 9 years older than Anthony Edwards, something like that. But anyway, that is my biggest thing. It's like they completely forgot who Anthony Edwards was, and forgot about like, we should do something for that kid, right? To make him want to stay in Minnesota. But here's the thing. It's the same thing I said with Donovan Mitchell. Rudy Gobert's contract was going to make it to one. Donovan Mitchell's going to be unhappy because they can't get anyone else on the team, right? They don't have cap space, right? Or they're going to have to trade him away in order to free something up or do something else or completely restart. And that happened, right? The same exact thing is going to happen in Minnesota, because now you locked in an even older guy at an unreal contract, and then you have another supermax guy on top of it, right? And then so in the next couple years, Anthony Edwards is going to look around like, what the heck can we do? They're going to be paying Rudy Gobert $47 million when he's 35 years old.
Yeah.
And it like, actually, what do you do at that point? How do you build around that? And they're not going to. They're going to end up having to get rid of Rudy Gobert. I don't know how, because of that contract at what will be his age, or they're going to lose Anthony Edwards, who's a supreme talent right now. One of the top 20-year-olds. If you could pick anyone under 23, like he might be at the top of the list. And I just cannot believe what the Timberwolves gave up.
They went backwards to me, because I feel like they were headed in the right direction of what a winning franchise in the NBA is today, right? Like, they got two guys they drafted, super talented guys, and they got great depth around them. You need depth to go far in the playoffs to win a chip. You need it, And we've heard that the super team era is kind of fading, and it's almost like that's like kind of a lousy-ish attempt at a super. If you're gonna add somebody to a super team, Gobert ain't that guy. But it's just
think about all the teams that this package: Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Bolmero, Walker Kessler, and first-round pick, Jared Vanderbilt, and 5 more first-round picks. Think about the other teams that package would have just made them think about trading somebody, right? If you just offered that to every team, like here, what do you think? What do you think? Yeah. They could have gotten a younger player,
better too,
that might be a better fit for Anthony Edwards in the long run too. I just cannot believe it. It's like the new owner complex. A-Rod and his buddy got in there.
It's a sell ticket. It's a ticket selling move. That's no question about it. I just don't like it, because I think long term they'd be so much better too without it. But now you're putting Ant in this really, really awkward, not so good situation in the long run. It's just.
Yes, and you have a guy like Anthony Edwards, who Karl Anthony Towns is amazing. We've been over that, really good player. But you have this guy in Anthony Edwards. We're in a point of time where guards are almost like controlling everything, right? It's a guard league. Yes, Jokic is good. Yes, Giannis is good. Yes, Embiid's really good. But Steph Curry just won the finals, right? Jason Tatum was in the finals. Jaylen Brown was in the finals. I mean, guards are very important. And you haven't seen just a center, right, lead their team to the finals.
A center like Rudy Gobert
years.
isn't going to be the guy.
And now they have
even Cat
or even Karl Anthony Towns, who's so good. But you have this guy, Minnesota, small market, hasn't been good for years. You have a guy like Anthony Edwards who has the potential
and the
to
mindset,
be very, very
to be
good.
Great, man.
Like all-star, super, yes. And he has everything. He has the tools. He has the mindset. He has the skill.
And you just kill that.
And you might, and this trade jeopardizes him staying in Minnesota. You don't want to give someone more reasons to leave Minnesota.
He already said he'd dunk right on.
The fact he's in Minnesota is just a reason.
Didn't he say that like earlier in an interview?
He came out publicly. Yeah, he publicly last year he said Rudy Gobert doesn't scare anyone. He said Kristaps Porzingis is more scary than Rudy Gobert. He said Rudy Gobert doesn't deter anyone from the rim. I feel like I can attack Rudy Gobert. When Kristaps in the paint, I at least feel like there's someone there that might stop me.
It maybe it'll
anyway
age.
that is my whole rant. It makes no sense.
I highly doubt it, but it's just like it just doesn't make sense.
Like, congrats on the 10 more regular season wins. You might make the playoffs more. Congrats on your playoff appearances. Let's hang that on in the rafters.
And they did Pat Bev so dirty, man. This man went up on the scorer's table. He cried real tears after winning that play-in game for you guys, and you just said, no, forget about it, Pat. You're gone. You're gone, bro. Him and Vanderbilt, man, that made me sad. And did you see? Yeah, go for it.
Can I tell you the best part of this trade? The best part was the report after that the Timberwolves were ecstatic that they held on to Jaden McDaniels in this trade.
Yeah.
Ecstatic that they didn't have to give up Jaden McDaniels. Oh, my goodness. You gave up nearly everything else you have.
McDaniels is a great player, don't get me wrong, but that's crazy. They gave up so
I like him too, but
much. Yeah.
He's an untouchable. Jaden McDaniels is untouchable now. It's like a new meme. I was listening to a podcast. Zach Lowe was talking about the untouchables and how Jaden McDaniels is now an untouchable. And oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my goodness. That's all I can say.
One other thing I feel that's going for Minnesota is sometimes this might be game changing for them. They have an occasional sixth defender on the floor. You know, when there's protests going on, you know. But so maybe they didn't give up that much depth, and you know, the frame is kind of those protesters kind of in the air, so we never know. Like maybe they could have a 7-foot protester one time.
Yeah,
or
they might have 40,000 protesters in the stands after this trade.
That was good. That was good. There's gonna be one basket's gonna be the side about. I forgot what their owner, and then one basket's going to be the fans protesting the trade and the future of the franchise. It's crazy.
Unreal.
It's crazy.
All right, we've gone a little long, but we have one more big topic, a major topic. Kevin Durant asks for a trade. Tell me what you think. Do you think it's going to happen? Where do you think he's going to go if he goes? What do you think?
I just want to say, first off, I'm sad. I'm really sad that he requested out because we saw Kyrie opt in, and I'm like, okay, these dudes are running back. Like we got Kyrie and KD. You know, when they're on the floor together, they play beautiful basketball. It's art. Definitely on the offensive side of the ball, they got Ben Simmons, who's hopefully going to play. You know, a multiple-time All-Star guy who was in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. And, you know, has been a great player, very overhated and underrated player now. And I was just excited, and his fit with the Nets is great. And I was excited to see that all come together for them. But, yeah, I'm sad about that. But we'll see. I know his top 2 targets are Miami and Phoenix. And all I'm praying is that if he doesn't get traded to the Bulls, which is unlikely, even though they're in the running, I hope he gets traded west. I do not need another powerhouse team in the East for my Bulls, man. I just want, even though I'm taking the Bulls over anybody, man, all day. But Kevin, just go west, bro. Please get traded west. I've seen Toronto's name in the running, though. Could be sneaky. They got the pieces. I heard they're not. Somebody's told me they're not willing to trade Scotty for KD, but
I've heard that as well. Well, it's an interesting one, and that's definitely a hard one
Brooklyn's
because
gonna
he's so
want him.
young, and you don't really know what
Brooklyn
he can
will want
become yet. Well, here's the thing. This is what got us onto Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert got 6 draft picks, basically. DeJounte Murray got 4. What kind of return does Kevin Durant get? A guy who's a top 2 player in the NBA when he's healthy, right? I think he's one of the best players of all time. I probably have him higher on my list than most people, but he's still at like the later half of his prime. He's coming off an Achilles tear, but so what? He's so freaking good anyway. And then he has 4 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
He's locked in. So what kind of return does that get? If Rudy Gobert gets 6 draft picks and young players, what does Kevin Durant get? And I think that is why I think Kevin Durant's going to remain a net to start the season.
It'll be like a holdout,
at least
thing?
For a little bit, because
like, you think he just won't play? I hope he does. Kevin, I will be so upset. Kevin, I hope you're listening. I will be beyond angry at you for depriving us of watching you play basketball. If you do some holdout type thing, bro.
Well, here's the thing.
Don't do it.
Here's the thing. If there's one thing about Kevin Durant,
Basketball.
it's he loves to play, and that's all he cares about. And he always wants to play no matter if he's hurt. He's always trying to play. And I would be shocked if he does hold out, but I think that's what the Nets are going to do. The Nets aren't just going to give him up because he wants out. No, you have 4 years left on your deal. We're not giving you up unless we can get someone, a young player who we really like. And that's the tough thing with the Heat, right? The Heat make a trade, right? Who's their best asset that they could trade? Bam Adebayo. But they can't trade him because there's a rule. It's called the designated rookie extension rule. And it means a team cannot acquire 2 players who have signed the rookie max deal, right? So they already acquired Ben Simmons, so that's 1. And if they also got Bam Adebayo, that would be 2. So they're not able to trade for Bam Adebayo. So that, like, then what's the best package, right? Because KD's not going to want to go to Miami if he can't play with. I'm sure he wants to play with Bam. I'm sure he wants to play with Jimmy, right? So then what's your next bet? It's like Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and picks, right? Is that enough? Does that sway them in any way? And then in Phoenix, it's DeAndre Ayton, right, on a sign-in trade. Then it's Mikal Bridges.
They said they already came out and said they
picks.
won't make a move unless they get Book in return. That the Kendall Jenner duo.
Yeah.
Though,
so like, so then that's what I'm saying. It's just, who are you gonna get for him? Right? Because anywhere KD wants to go, he's going to want to be able to play with guys that are going to help him win a championship. And Brooklyn wants all those guys because they deserve him if they're trading Kevin Durant away. So it's very interesting. I think it's going to be a little kind of like Daryl Morey, not with Ben Simmons. We're not trading unless we get someone we know we really want back. And I don't think it'll be a holdout situation.
Literally.
I'm hoping it'll all smooth over and we get to see
my-
the Brooklyn team play.
My perspective, for somebody as valuable as Kevin Durant, you move him wherever team he goes, that team is gonna lose a lot of like future talent or depth, as we saw with Rudy Gobert, who just kind of like killed a lot of depth and future talent for Minnesota, right? So.
Yeah.
From Kevin Durant's perspective, I love KD, love how he loves basketball. I really don't get like how if he goes somewhere it'll really be a better situation than Brooklyn. Like I think he should just give a year in Brooklyn a shot. No, like I really do. I really think he should give it another shot. Like do you think like seeing what teams gave up with Gobert, like obviously, wherever he gets traded is going to have to give up something big time. Do you see like a drastically better situation or opportunity for him to win a chip elsewhere than what he'll already have in Brooklyn?
I don't, considering what Brooklyn's going to demand back. The only thing, crazy shot in the dark, doubt it'll happen. Like Golden State could offer like a Wiggins, Poole, Kuminga, another young guy in picks. But I also don't think they'll do that either. So it would be interesting. I don't know. Like I said, my bet is on their staying. He's staying in Brooklyn
I hope so.
for a little bit.
That'll take it. There's there's definitely not KD trade news coming anytime soon. If there is, I'd be shocked. But you know how these situations with big, huge players, take. I mean, Kyrie's took like at least over a month. The whole Ben Simmons saga was a while. It's going to be some time till we get a complete answer on what Kevin Durant's future is. I hope it says in net, and I hope everything, they reconcile. I will cry if I see him in a Lakers jersey. I doubt that happens. I'd hate that. I would literally hate that, but yeah, no. I don't think it's happening. Lakers fans just try and make anything possible. It's not happening. It's not happening.
They'll end up signing like
bag of chips.
I can't even think of anyone like Isaiah Thomas and DeAndre Jordan.
Get a new copy machine with that too.
Anyway, I mean, so that was it. We covered a lot, but we also kind of skipped over a lot because a lot happened. It's July 7th, and the off-season drama is in full swing. And it's also just begun at the same time. So we'll keep checking back in, and we'll keep talking about everything going on. But we appreciate all you guys for listening, for hanging on with us. We always welcome feedback and accept everything coming our way. We appreciate all you guys. Liam, you got anything before we head out?
Obviously, keep showing love on Instagram, TikTok. Instagram, we got daily polls. I'm assuming if you're listening, you probably follow the Insta. But if you don't, follow it. Have some fun with it. Polls, quizzes on the daily TikTok content twice a day. Your boys got you guys. We on that grind. But yeah, keep showing love. Always appreciate the feedback. We're always trying to grow. It's just the beginning for us. It's a process. We're working on it. We're getting better. But anything you can point out that can be better, we want to hear it for sure.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next week. Have a good one.
Later.
Catch you later.